Oracle is one of the largest software technology companies on the planet. Although you may not know much about this incredible empire, much of the software you use on a daily basis was likely made by Oracle. Today, Oracle is worth an unbelievable $300 billion. But the company that now runs the world as we know it was actually created by a young boy who was given up for adoption when he was only 9 months old. His life and creation of Oracle is an unmissable story. Before Larry Ellison was one of the richest men on earth, he was born in New York City to Florence Spellman on August 17, 1944. Florence was a young Jewish woman living a challenging life. She was unmarried when she gave birth to Larry and found that she could not provide the life that her son deserved due to her station in life and lack of money. Therefore, when Larry was only 9 months old, Florence decided to give him up for adoption to his aunt and uncle, Lillian Spellman Ellison and Louis Ellison. According to Larry's memories, his adoptive mother was kind and supportive, while his adoptive father was quite a distant man. While Louis Ellison had made quite a small fortune in Chicago real estate, he lost it all during the Great Depression. Larry's early life with Lillian and Louis was typical of a young American in the 1950s and 60s. The family lived in Chicago, and while his parents were practicing Reformed Jews, Larry has stated that he never really felt connected to his Jewish upbringing and doesn't consider himself religious. After graduating from high school, Larry attended the University of Illinois as a pre-med student. And while Larry was certainly an exceptional student, winning Science Student of the Year his sophomore year, he dropped out. While some argue that Larry left school because his adoptive mother sadly passed away, Larry stated that the main reason for his departure was that he simply wasn't interested in his pre-med classes. He was worried that he lacked the work ethic needed to be a successful doctor, but the truth was that he simply didn't connect with the subject material. He spent one more semester at the University of Chicago to study mathematics and physics, subjects he was far more interested in. It was there that he had his interest piqued in software engineering. Though once again, Larry dropped out of school. Then, Larry moved to California to start a new life for himself. Though he didn't know what California would bring, the move turned out to be a catalyst for a series of jobs that would lead him to create Oracle. In the 1960s, living in Berkeley, California, Larry Ellison knew he needed to make enough money to make ends meet. However, without a college degree, Larry didn't quite know where to start. For the first few years, he worked as a rock climbing instructor and river guide in the Sierra Mountains, and dedicated much of his free time to the Sierra Club and their environmental pursuits. But these jobs did not pay the bills. So Larry decided he would continue to work in the mountains and also get a part-time job as a computer programmer. According to Larry, the job as a computer programmer didn't necessarily fulfill his passions as working in the Sierras did. However, he was good at programming, and he enjoyed the mental stimulus it provided. And because Larry knew that hard work would lead to the life he wanted for himself, he kept at it, and by the 1970s, he started working at Amdahl, where he worked with a team to develop the world's fastest mainframe computer. Although Larry was trying to better himself, his wife and his adoptive father still saw him as an unambitious youth who didn't have the drive to become anything other than a part-time worker and adventure junkie. But shortly after, he moved to Ampex, where he built the world's largest digital storage system. Working at Ampex would change his life forever, but he had a few other jobs first. Larry went on to work at Precious Instruments, where they built an even larger data storage system using lasers. At Precision Instruments, Larry gained the title of Vice President in charge of development, and it seemed he had finally made it in the industry. But he didn't stop there. While at Ampex, Larry was extremely influenced by Edgar F. Codd and his relational database design for IBM. And one of his specific projects included a database he created for the CIA, which he called Oracle. But this wasn't quite the company that exists today yet. There were a few more events that needed to happen first. In 1977, Larry Ellison decided that instead of continuing to work for Ampex, he would found his own software development company that he simply called Software Development Laboratories, or SDL. Larry has since stated that the real reason for creating his own company was simply that he was bored working at the other companies. He didn't feel passionate about programming and wanted to work as a software engineer. So in order to make his dream a reality, he would create a team of the brightest minds in the industry who would all work together to engineer world-changing software. And that's where Bob Miner and Ed Oates came in. The three men decided to pool their money to start the business and hired the most exceptional engineers in Silicon Valley. Surprisingly, the company that would soon be known as Oracle started with only $2,000, which was made up of $1,200 of Larry's personal money. At the time, Larry, Bob, and Ed had no idea that the company would grow into the empire it is today. In fact, Larry assumed the company would never actually be larger than 50-odd employees. They had a dream to create something that would change the world, but they had no idea the extent to which that dream was about to come true. SDL's name was changed several times in the first few years, from SDL to Regional Software Incorporated, or RSI, and finally became Oracle Systems Corporation in 1983. The name, of course, came from one of Larry's original projects, Oracle for the CIA. During these early years, many people thought Larry and his team were crazy and arrogant. They were attempting to create a database like the world had never seen before. But as Larry now says, arrogance and insanity turned out to be innovation in disguise. And there's no doubt about it, the Oracle database did turn out to be a defining program in the world of software and the world as we know it. Only 12 years after its inception, Oracle was a complete success. They moved their headquarters to Redwood City, California, and began building the conglomerate that we know today. Throughout the 2000s, Oracle was growing at an almost exponential rate. The company continued to acquire several other software development companies, such as PeopleSoft, BEA, Sun Microsystems, and many more. It was a publicly traded conglomerate that had taken over not only the industry but the world. Oracle partnered with its rival, Microsoft, in 2019 and allowed customers to store data on cloud platforms within Amazon and Google. It acquired a health information technology company, Cerner, in 2021, as well as Federos, an AI and automation company, the very next day. To say that Oracle has been doing well for itself is an understatement, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. In 2022, Oracle was hit with a class action lawsuit that stated the company was allegedly operating a surveillance machine that tracks the personal information of hundreds of millions of people. Though the lawsuit hasn't slowed the company down one bit, there are dozens of facts and smaller companies within the conglomerate. In fact, unless you work in the world of software engineering, there is no real way to understand just how much of the industry Oracle controls. Essentially, Oracle runs the world, and many people don't even know its name. Interestingly, Larry and Oracle have recently decided to invest $1.5 billion into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a part of an ongoing tech investment in the country itself and cloud services. And not only will this investment change Saudi Arabia forever, but it will also likely change the tech industry yet again in ways no one can yet anticipate. While Larry's life is certainly based on his creation and development of Oracle, the man has also had several highs and lows in his personal life. Larry Ellison had been married and divorced 4 times. He has 2 children, many exotic and, of course, expensive cars, yachts, planes, and multi-million-dollar homes around the world. In fact, Larry even owns a Hawaiian island. And while many say that Larry's personal wealth and complicated family life make him just another one of the world's elite, Larry prides himself on being an environmentalist and dedicated philanthropist. He has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charitable foundations, although according to Forbes, the total amount donated only makes up about 1% of his incredible wealth. Larry Ellison has won awards within his industry, as well as being inducted into the Bay Area Business Hall of Fame. However, Larry still sees himself as a software engineer who didn't set out to change the world, but simply created a company at which he could work a job he was finally passionate about instead of going through life without a purpose. Oracle designs, manufactures, and sells software and hardware products and offers services to complement them. Though, once again, if you're not in the industry yourself, it's challenging to understand exactly how much Oracle does for the tech industry and the world at large. Today, the company employs over 150,000 people, and has an amazing net worth of almost $300 billion. It's based in Austin, Texas, but has offices all over the globe. Larry still owns 42.9% of the Oracle Corporation and 1.5% of Elon Musk's company Tesla. And Larry Ellison is still the executive chairman and CTO of the Oracle Corporation. While he has been on Forbes' richest list for over a decade, he most recently made the list as the 7th wealthiest person on the planet with a personal net worth of almost $70 billion. And to think that Larry was just a poor Jewish boy from New York City, adopted by his aunt and uncle when his single mother could no longer care for him, is certainly one of the most incredible stories of work ethic and dedication the world has ever seen. Hungry for another fascinating business story? Click on the following video to hear the crazy story about the Korean boy who invented Samsung.